Court in Atlanta. I'm Faith Abube. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Tonight, a unanimous 2024 ruling from the Supreme Court.
You cannot take somebody out of a race. The voters can take the person out of the race very quickly.
Donald Trump can remain on the ballot in Colorado despite the state's attempt to remove him after a state trial court found he participated in the January 6th insurrection via incitement. What the Supreme Court's ruling today means for the 2024 race and those insurrection charges. Plus,
can I ask you a really hard question? How do you know she's alive?
We're not twins, but I guess we're as close to twins as people who aren't twins can be. And I know in my gut that she's alive, and I know that she is trusting me to get her out of there.
Kataib Hezbollah is holding an American woman hostage and backed by Iran. But what's behind the group considered a terror organization by the U.S.? We'll tell you in tonight's Prime Focus. And they disappeared into their roles of Leonard Bernstein and his wife Felicia, leading to more than a half a dozen Oscar nominations. Tonight, we sit down with actors Bradley Cooper and Carey Mulligan as our road to the Oscars continues. Good evening, everyone. I'm Lindsay Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We're following those stories and much more, including the massive blizzard that hit California and Nevada, trapping some under several feet of snow and closing down central highways. Plus, the declared state of emergency in Haiti after a massive prison break in the capital further strains a country already in crisis. And an ABC News exclusive, an interview with the woman behind that wildly viral TikTok series of her marriage gone awry. What she now says about the global attention and the man she alleges lied about every aspect of his life. But we do begin with a historic ruling by the nation's highest court and the immediate impact it will have on the presidential election. In a unanimous decision, the Supreme Court found individual states cannot invoke the 14th Amendment to keep Donald Trump off the ballot. The ruling has direct implications in two Super Tuesday states, Colorado and also Maine. Trump praised the court for working hard and quickly. The justices will now take up the other major case before them, former President Trump's claim of absolute immunity in the federal election interference case. Those arguments will begin next month. In today's ruling, the justices did not weigh in on whether he took part in an insurrection on January 6th. And while today's ruling may have been unanimous, not all of the justices agree on how they reached their decision. We're standing by to talk with Colorado's Secretary of State for more on the impact of today's decision. But first, our Terry Moran leads us off from the Supreme Court.
For the Supreme Court, a rare moment of unanimity. All 9 justices, so often divided in major cases, declaring as one that individual states cannot ban Donald Trump from the presidential ballot under the insurrection clause of the Constitution's 14th Amendment. The court did not address the issue of whether Trump actually engaged in insurrection, but declared that the responsibility for enforcing that section of the Constitution rests with Congress and not the states.
They worked long, they worked hard, and frankly, they worked very quickly on something that will be spoken about 100 years from now and 200 years from now. Extremely important.
Courts in 3 states, Colorado, Maine, and Illinois, have ruled that Trump should be banned from the ballot because of his actions on January 6th and in the weeks before, under the 14th Amendment's command that no one who has taken an oath to support the Constitution and then engaged in insurrection can hold public office afterwards. During oral arguments last month, liberals and conservatives on the court voiced sharp skepticism of what Colorado did.
I think that the question that you have to confront is why a single state should decide who gets to be president of the United States.
Today, the justices pointed to the potential disruption that could happen if some states disqualified Trump and some did not, all using different standards and procedures. To disqualify insurrectionist candidates, the court ruled Congress must first pass a law spelling out how. But the court's 3 liberal justices, in a concurring opinion, said that goes too far. By saying only new legislation can address the issue, the conservatives, the liberals wrote, are attempting to shield the court itself and Donald Trump from future controversy. Adding sharply, the majority attempts to insulate all alleged insurrectionists from future challenges to their holding federal office. Justice Amy Coney Barrett also wrote separately, agreeing with the liberals that the majority went too far, but urging her colleagues to turn the national temperature down, not up. Our differences are far less important than our unanimity, Barrett wrote. All 9 justices agree on the outcome of this case. That is the message all Americans should take home.
Poignant that it is unanimous. Our thanks to Terry for that. And joining us now is Colorado Secretary of State Jena Griswold, who argued as her state's chief election official that former President Trump could be kept off Colorado's Republican primary ballot. Here's what she said last month after oral arguments at the U.S. Supreme Court.
We are only here because Donald Trump decided to engage in insurrection instead of accepting his loss. We are only here because there's an unprecedented situation. A president who decided that he would steal the presidency from the American people. I don't believe that the president is a get-out-of-jail-free card, and I hope the justices hold him accountable.
Madam Secretary, we thank you so much for joining us tonight. Your thoughts on today's decision?
Thanks for having me on. First and foremost, I'm glad the court issued a decision. Voters deserve to know whether Trump is a qualified candidate or not as they go into Super Tuesday. But I am disappointed with the decision. We believe that states like Colorado, states across the nation, have the authority to disqualify oath-breaking insurrectionists from our ballots. The Supreme Court decided otherwise. Donald Trump is on Colorado's ballots, and votes for him in the Super Tuesday election will be counted.
Experts from the start thought that your case would be an uphill battle, and indeed the court was unanimous in their decision. So why was it important for you to press on, knowing that you would anger so many Republican primary voters in your state?
To be very clear on 2 issues, I did not bring this lawsuit. Actually, Republican and unaffiliated voters in the state of Colorado filed this lawsuit because they believed it is not a good thing to have a disqualified candidate on a ballot that could lead to the disenfranchisement of unaffiliated and Republican voters. Second, I also think it's noteworthy that I have always said that I will follow the Supreme Court's decision. Fighting for democracy is never the wrong thing to do. And at the end of the day, there have only been 2 courts who have looked at the question of whether Donald Trump engaged in insurrection. They both determined that he did.
How would you respond, though, to Republican voters who might say to you, why not trust me with my vote? Why limit my choices?
Well, ultimately, my job is to uphold the law and the Constitution. And where there is what many would say pretty clear language in the Constitution about whether someone is disqualified or not, my job is to look at that. But again, I actually did not take any action in removing Trump from the ballot. A lawsuit was filed. A lawsuit was filed actually against me, asking a court to stop me from putting Trump on the ballot. That then went to the Colorado Supreme Court, who said that Trump is disqualified because of his role in the insurrection, and that the president or the former president is not above the law or the Constitution. Section 3 of the 14th Amendment applies to him. I think the Colorado Supreme Court got it right. Ultimately, I will follow the United States Supreme Court decision. I do think that there is a dangerous concern from its decision. It does leave up to Congress whether to take action to disqualify federal candidates who are oath-breaking insurrectionists. That is highly unlikely with this Congress. And so it pretty much leaves open a door to ballot access for oath-breaking insurrectionists to run for federal office.
And we just have a few seconds remaining, but I know you said that you always said all along that you would go along with the outcome of the Supreme Court. I am just curious, do you have confidence in the U.S. Supreme Court?
My beliefs about the United States Supreme Court does not affect my decision to follow their decision. In the United States, when we have legal or constitutional controversies, they get adjudicated. They work their way through a trial system. Again, I believe that I would say I am disappointed in the Supreme Court's decision. We expressed our view at the Supreme Court, and ultimately, Trump is a qualified candidate. He is on the ballot, and votes for him will be counted.
Jena Griswold, Colorado Secretary of State, we thank you again so much for your time.
Thank you.
Now to the new winter storm taking aim at the West Coast tonight, once again with winter weather alerts in effect from California to Montana. Snow is blocking mountain roads, stranding drivers for hours. Interstate 80 was closed for days, but finally reopened once again today. Now, heavy snow will sweep across several states through Thursday. ABC's Faith Abube is in California.
Tonight, after enduring multiple days of blizzard conditions, communities in the Sierra Nevada mountains now bracing for another winter storm. More than 10 feet of snow in some areas already. One Lake Tahoe ski resort recording a wind gust of 190 miles per hour during the storm's height. The blizzard shutting down more than 70 miles of Interstate 80 for days. We were with California Highway Patrol Sergeant Eric Strecker this weekend as he checked on stranded drivers.
You want me to give you a little nudge?
Watch as he uses his cruiser to push this car out of that snowbank.
Should be out there.
In the blinding snow and wind over Donner Summit Friday night, first responders going vehicle to vehicle, rescuing more than 200 drivers, including a mother and her newborn baby.
We ended up getting her car jump-started, but realized she still doesn't have enough fuel. So at that point, we just elected to transport her and the baby off of the mountain down to a warming center.
The crucial interstate finally reopening today.
Such treacherous conditions out there. We see those wind gusts that you're dealing with. Faith Abube joins us now from Truckee, California, just outside of Tahoe. Faith, what can we expect in the West in the coming days?
Well, Lindsay, winter storm warnings remain in effect for parts of Northern California until early Wednesday. Now, as families and communities race to dig out of this storm, several additional feet of snow forecast for some areas as the system moves from California to Colorado. Lindsay.
A lot of digging ahead. Faith Abube, our thanks to you. Meanwhile, major fires continue burning across the Texas Panhandle. About 500 homes now gone and some families without any place to go. Officials estimate more than 1 million acres have been destroyed. ABC's Maria Villarreal is in Texas for us.
Tonight, a new wildfire triggering the evacuation of another town in the Texas Panhandle as firefighters race to contain the largest fire in state history that has killed 2 people and destroyed hundreds of homes. Officials temporarily evacuating Sanford, Texas Sunday. Crews battling wind-fueled flames from the ground and in the air. 5 wildfires scorching more than 1 million acres, hitting cattle ranchers hard.
So far today,
Shay Mesner owns the Bait Shack in Fritch, Texas, helping coordinate hay donations from around the state. Authorities estimating thousands of cattle have been killed, potentially impacting the nation's beef supply.
And those cows need to eat.
Over 1 million acres has burned. There is no grass on the ground for them to eat. So hay is of dire importance.
If you don't get the hay to the livestock, what happens here?
The meat market dies.
And tonight, word of the first lawsuit, a woman suing power company Excel saying a wooden pole Excel failed to properly inspect, snapped off at its base, adding powered utility lines hit the ground, igniting a fire. Excel responding to that lawsuit, saying they are working to support the Panhandle, adding there has been no official determination of cause or causes for the fires, and investigations are ongoing. And tonight, back in Fritch, the community rallying to help those struggling.
This is our town. This is where we live. These are the people that we bump shoulders with every day. If we don't stick together as a town, who's going to do it?
Lindsay, firefighters are trying to take advantage of the weather that's going on right now in the Panhandle. We've got cooler temperatures, we got light winds, all of that expected through Wednesday, and even a chance of rain later on this week. Lindsay?
Would enjoy some rain there. Maria, our thanks to you. Former Massachusetts Air National Guard member Jack Teixeira has pleaded guilty to leaking highly classified military documents. In a deal with prosecutors, he has agreed to a 16-year prison sentence for illegally collecting and posting classified material online, including detailed information about the war in Ukraine. He smiled at his father before being led out of the courtroom. Haiti is under a state of emergency after a wave of violence has swept across the country. 2 of the country's largest prisons were attacked by armed gangs and freed hundreds of inmates. In Port-au-Prince, police unions are asking any officers in the city to help prison guards to fight off the gangs. Days of violence have left the country paralyzed, while gang leaders are openly declaring they want to force out Haiti's prime minister. Here in New York today, the former CFO of the Trump Organization pleaded guilty to perjury in the state's civil fraud trial against Donald Trump. Prosecutors say Alan Weisselberg lied under oath while testifying on Trump's behalf. The judge in the case ordered Trump last month to pay more than $450 million for inflating the value of his properties. Here's Aaron Katursky with the latest.
For almost 50 years, Alan Weisselberg was a trusted lieutenant of the Trump family. Tonight, for a second time, that loyalty is sending him to jail. Weisselberg pleaded guilty to perjury, admitting he lied during the New York Attorney General's investigation and trial of his former boss. The 76-year-old Weisselberg came to court today in handcuffs. He was released until April 10th, when he'll be sentenced to 5 months in jail.
How do you feel?
Weisselberg has already served time for evading taxes on benefits he received as chief financial officer of the Trump Organization. This time, he lied about his role in affirming the size of Trump's Fifth Avenue penthouse. Trump's financial statement said it's 30,000 square feet, but the Attorney General showed Trump's signature on a document certifying it's a third that size, 11,000 square feet. That false valuation is part of the reason Trump was held liable for fraud and ordered to pay a nearly $500 million civil penalty. Weisselberg did not implicate Trump. He left the Trump Organization last year with a $2 million severance. The Trump campaign said Weisselberg fell victim to a crusade of vindictive and oppressive pressure by the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. But, Lindsay, prosecutors said it is a crime to lie in depositions and a trial, plain and simple. Lindsay?
Aaron, our thanks to you. And we head overseas now for the latest on the Israel-Hamas war. The Biden administration is increasing the pressure for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza, with Vice President Harris acknowledging the scale of suffering in Gaza. ABC's Tom Sophie Burridge is in Israel.
Tonight, amid growing desperation in Gaza, the U.S. stepping up calls for a ceasefire. Vice President Kamala Harris meeting with a member of Israel's war cabinet with a pointed message. Time is running out to free more hostages. And calling on Hamas to accept the terms of an immediate 6-week ceasefire. The deadline is the end of this week.
We're in a window of time right now where we can actually get a hostage deal done. We all want this conflict to end as soon as possible, and how it does matters.
The push for a deal comes as the UN sets out clear and convincing evidence of sexual violence by Hamas militants during the October 7th attack. In a new report, the UN calling for a full investigation, saying hostages in Gaza were also sexually assaulted. The findings released while the US, Egypt and Qatar tell Israel it must allow more aid into the Strip. The US airdropping 38,000 ready-to-eat meals into Gaza this weekend. But the UN warning 500,000 people are on the brink of famine. One Gaza hospital saying 16 children have now died because of malnutrition, with UNICEF warning that number could quickly spiral.
We are seeing children die because of malnutrition, because of dehydration, and we will see those numbers skyrocket without a ceasefire.
Time certainly of the essence here. Tom Sophie Burridge joins us now. Tom, realistically, does it look like a ceasefire is an option for Israel?
Lindsay, it's definitely an option for Israel if they can get more of the hostages out of Gaza. Now, Israel is not sending its negotiating team to Egypt for the latest round of talks, so there's no sign of a breakthrough. The unofficial deadline, the start of Ramadan, is in just 5 days' time. Lindsay?
Tom Sophie Burridge for us from Tel Aviv. Tom, thank you. Officials in Malaysia have said that they are open to resuming the search for Malaysian Airlines Flight 370, which vanished from radar nearly 10 years ago. An American-based private company called Ocean Infinity approached the Malaysian government about reopening the search. The company says there is potentially new evidence pointing to the location of the missing Boeing 777 MH370 disappeared from the radar in 2014 with 12 crew members and 227 passengers on board. And we still have much more to get to here on Prime tonight, but next we bring you the heartbreaking story of a woman fighting against a terrorist organization and a foreign government in the hopes of getting her sister back home safely.
She's been gone for a year.
Almost.
What gives you hope that she will ever be released?
Just that I have to stay hopeful. There's no other choice.
Whenever news breaks,
We are here in Israel, a nation at war after that brutal surprise attack by Hamas.
On the ground in Ukraine, reporting from Lewiston, Maine.
The scene of a horrific mass shooting.
ABC News Live is right there everywhere.
From the scene of that deadly missile strike in Dnipro, Ukraine.
Reporting from the earthquake in Turkey.
In Rolling Fork, this tornado tore through this little town.
From the most devastating disaster in Hawaii.
From Charleston, South Carolina, on the 2024 campaign trail.
In Iceland. Let's go.
Traveling with the president in Mexico City.
Wherever the story.
From the front lines from southern Israel.
Outside the Gaza Strip.
In Beirut.
From the FBI.
Reporting from the nurses on the picket line.
Here at 10 Downing Street in London. Streaming live to you.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is. We're going to take you there.
You're streaming.
ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live. Streaming free everywhere. America's #1 streaming news.
First thing in the morning.
There's a lot going on. Yet another avalanche warning that's up.
To catch you up with what happened overnight. A dangerous ice storm is impacting the morning commute.
What's happening today? Escalating tensions in the Middle East.
What people are talking about. The migrant crisis.
Fast, straightforward.
With some fun in between.
How does billionaire sound?
Sounds good to me. The moose started chasing a dog.
First thing in the morning.
America This Morning.
America's #1 early morning news.
On ABC News Live.
We are here in Israel, a nation at war.
We've seen tank after tank pouring into this area.
This is where it all began.
Bullet holes all up the wall.
Within minutes, the air raid sirens going off.
You can hear the sound of an explosion.
We are pinned down here.
Tonight, Israel waging a fierce bombardment of Gaza.
The Israel-Hamas war. For non-stop live coverage, stream ABC News Live.
Reporting from southern Israel.
From the front lines.
In downtown Ramallah.
In Beirut.
Wherever the story is, we'll take you there.
ABC News Live.
Welcome back, everyone. Kataib Hezbollah, the Iran-backed terror group, has found itself back in the headlines as it causes even more violence, like the killing of 3 American soldiers. They're also blamed for the kidnapping of a Princeton doctoral student. That kidnapping and her sister's desperate attempts to bring her home is unveiling deep ties between the terrorist organization and the Iraqi government. Our Jay O'Brien has this in-depth investigation in tonight's Prime Focus.
The aftermath of a U.S. drone strike earlier this month. Inside that burning car, the Pentagon says, was a top commander of Kataib Hezbollah. This U.S. strike, part of a series of reprisals. After the more than 170 attacks on American troops that group and other Iran-backed militias have carried out since the start of the Israel-Hamas war. One attack in January, killing 3 service members at a remote base in Jordan. Considered a terrorist group by the U.S., Kataib Hezbollah gets its marching orders from Iran, which would ultimately like to see U.S. troops get out of Iraq. It's a centuries-old story, a bloody geopolitical struggle for power and prominence. But this time, Elizabeth Surkoff is caught in the middle. This was the last known image of what appears to be Elizabeth. A hostage video released on the Iraqi TV network Al Arabiya last November. In it, she falsely claims to be both an Israeli spy and a CIA agent. But what she's saying isn't as important as the fact this video exists. Because this is the first proof Emma Surkoff had that her sister, Elizabeth, was alive. After she was kidnapped, both the U.S. and Israeli governments say, by Kataib Hezbollah, 7 months before this video was released.
What was it like seeing that?
A roller coaster of emotions. I mean, she's alive, and
She looked afraid.
she looked terrified. She doesn't scare easily at all, and the sheer terror in her eyes was just gut-wrenching.
Emma and Elizabeth are inseparable, best friends, just a year apart.
That's us.
Emma lives here in the U.S. Elizabeth is a Princeton doctoral student here on a student visa with dual Russian and Israeli citizenship. She traveled from her home in New Jersey to Baghdad because, as her sister tells us, Elizabeth is passionate about researching the Middle East directly at the source. But then, one day in March of last year, Elizabeth disappeared while leaving a cafe in the Iraqi capital.
I don't even know how to experience parts of my life. There is something so fundamentally missing. It's like the world is upside down.
Why do you think they took her?
I mean, I don't know for certain. Probably because they somehow figured out that she is Israeli and Jewish.
She's been gone for a year.
Almost.
What gives you hope that she will ever be released?
Just that I have to stay hopeful. There's no other choice.
Can I ask you a really hard question? How do you know she's alive?
We're not twins, but I guess we're as close to twins as people who aren't twins can be. And I know in my gut that she is alive, and I know that she is trusting me to get her out of there.
That's why Emma is here on Capitol Hill, pushing U.S. policymakers to lean on Iraq to get her sister out. She believes Iraqi officials hold the keys to Elizabeth's survival because of the deep, controversial ties between the Iraqi government and that terrorist group holding Elizabeth, Kataib Hezbollah. A connection, she says, many Americans may not realize exists.
They're roaming the halls of power in Baghdad freely and happily. They're not hiding, they don't feel shame.
And they have your sister.
Done. Yes, that's the part that just drives me crazy.
Kataib Hezbollah is considered the most powerful part of a group called the PMF, or the Popular Mobilization Forces, a constellation of militias cobbled together in Iraq a decade ago. For years, they were used to fight ISIS, and after its defeat, their strength within the country only grew. They now boast a budget in the billions from the Iraqi government. And some Kataib Hezbollah and other Iran-backed fighters now have official roles in the Iraqi establishment, sometimes compared to a kind of Iraqi National Guard.
They are part and parcel of the Iraqi state and government. They are recognized forces within the Iraqi constitution. There are some PMF commanders that actually have a presence within the Iraqi army itself.
Dr. Ron Jalaldin has been studying Iran-backed militias in Iraq for more than a decade.
You don't have to be a rocket scientist to realize that you've got a dysfunctional formal Iraqi security establishment that has effectively been instrumentalized and co-opted by these militia groups.
And it gets even more complex. To fight ISIS, the U.S. sent the Iraqi military hundreds of millions in guns, ammo, and even tanks. And experts like Jalaldin are concerned some of those weapons wound up with hostile Iran-backed militia groups. Like here in 2017, when Kataib Hezbollah fighters reportedly posted video operating an American-made M1 Abrams tank. This Inspector General report to Congress says the State Department acknowledged as many as 9 M1 Abrams tanks had fallen into the hands of Iranian-backed militias in Iraq. But to prevent the return of ISIS, the U.S. continues to send millions of dollars in weapons to Iraq's Ministry of Defense. So we went to the Pentagon.
Good afternoon.
To ask how they're making sure those weapons aren't ending up in the hands of the same Iranian-backed militants who kidnapped Elizabeth and are now attacking U.S. troops.
Is the U.S. government concerned that weapons and other security assistance we send to the Iraqi Ministry of Defense could wind up in the hands of PMF and Kataib Hezbollah fighters?
Well, we're confident in our end-use monitoring that we have in Iraq, so I think we're pretty confident in our coordination when it comes to the Iraqi security forces.
She went on to tell us the official position of the Department of Defense is that terrorist group holding Elizabeth and attacking U.S. troops, Kataib Hezbollah, or KH, is not part of that Iraqi government-backed paramilitary organization, the PMF.
KH is not part of the PMF.
But this 2023 report from Inspectors General for the Department of Defense and State lists Kataib Hezbollah as one of at least 4 Iran-aligned militias that have attacked U.S. forces, while also being part of the PMF, an umbrella group of militias that receives funding from the Iraqi government.
Is it fair to say that the same paramilitary groups that are shooting at American soldiers in Iraq right now are also part in a way, of the Iraqi government.
Well, absolutely. And that presents a tricky conundrum for both the Iraqis, but also the Americans.
And Emma firmly believes the U.S. could help free her sister by leaning on the Iraqis, which could then talk to Kataib Hezbollah.
The only thing standing between her and freedom is a stern enough phone call from Washington, D.C. to Baghdad, telling the Iraqi government, you need to get her out. This is not sustainable. She cannot stay there.
Do you think the Iraqi government knows where she is?
Yes, I know that they know who to ask if they don't right this moment.
In a July statement to Reuters, the Iraqi government confirmed it was aware of Elizabeth Surkoff's kidnapping and was investigating the incident. Despite multiple requests from ABC News, no Iraqi official agreed to speak on the record to us about Elizabeth Surkoff or Kataib Hezbollah. But in Baghdad, the influence of Kataib Hezbollah and other Iran-backed militias is only growing. Kataib Hezbollah has now promised to stop attacking U.S. troops to, quote, prevent embarrassment to the Iraqi government. All while Elizabeth Surkoff nears 1 year in captivity, caught in the middle.
I am never going to stop until I have her back. The only question is, how many obstacles will I have to overcome to get her back?
Our thanks to J.L. Bryan for that. Still much more ahead here on Prime tonight. Coming up, our Robin Roberts sits down exclusively with TikTok star Risa Tisa to discuss her marriage gone awry. But next, is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it is Caitlin Clark, who's one of the most prolific scorers in the history of basketball. We tell you just how great she is by the numbers.
What does it take to be the most watched newscast in America?
We are part of an operation.
Is this our combat operations center?
We're approaching the gate. Militants came in from different directions.
Nuclear reactor.
So you have a couple loaded and ready to go. The house is destroyed, but the flag...
Not a tear in it.
How important it made to USA.
Great work. Hi. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Ismael? David. David.
I'm David Muir.
I know who you are.
You
Watch
do?
you every night.
ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir is America's most watched newscast.
This is ABC News Live.
The crush of families here in Poland.
At refugee centers
In Putin's Russia.
On the ground in Ukraine.
Close to the front line.
From the capital, destructive Cat 4 storm.
You're along I-5.
Boston is in the bullseye. Let's go.
ABC News Live, America's #1 streaming news. Anytime, anywhere. Streaming 24/7, straight to you for free.
Thank you for making ABC News Live America's #1 streaming news.
We are here in Israel, a nation at war.
We've seen tank after tank pouring into this area.
This is where it all began.
Bullet holes all up the wall.
Within minutes, the air raid sirens going off.
You can hear the sound of an explosion.
We are pinned down here.
Tonight, Israel waging a fierce bombardment of Gaza.
The Israel-Hamas war. For nonstop live coverage, stream ABC News Live.
Reporting from southern Israel.
From the front lines.
In downtown Ramallah.
In Beirut.
Wherever the story is, we'll take you there.
ABC News Live.
First thing in the morning.
There's a lot going on.
Yet another avalanche warning that's up.
To catch you up with what happened overnight. A dangerous ice storm is impacting the morning commute.
What's happening today? Escalating tensions in the Middle East.
What people are talking about. The migrant crisis.
Fast, straightforward.
With some fun in between.
How does billionaire sound?
Sounds good to me. The moose started chasing a dog.
First thing in the morning.
America This Morning.
America's #1 early morning news.
On ABC News Live.
Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star Erica Jane.
Celebrity attorney Tom Girardi.
This story was a nuclear explosion.
Today, several victims will get a chance to finally meet Erica Girardi.
And that's sort of a loss for what to say.
Did you see the documentary?
The Housewife and the Hustler? I did.
I wanted Erica to say, I'm sorry, face to face.
Erica, why did it take you so long?
The Housewife and the Hustler 2. Only on Hulu.
Why do so many people start their day here?
From ABC News, this is Start Here.
To be in the know and get a different take on the day's top stories.
A lot of news today, so let's get into it.
Listen now to the Daily News Podcast honored with 4 Edward R. Murrow Awards and see why the New York Times calls it a news podcast worth listening to. Start Here, ABC News. Make it your daily first listen.
Now, that's a part of the story I bet you didn't see coming.
wherever you get your podcasts. Start here.
It's lunchtime in America, so what are we serving up?
Well, how about everything you need to know?
You know, that sounds pretty good.
Give it to me. Your health, your money, breaking news, pop culture, with the biggest stars, music, trends, and of course, good food. GMA 3, what you need to know. A third hour of GMA in the afternoon.
So join us, afternoons.
For everything you need to know. I love that.
Reporting from Santa Fe, New Mexico, I'm Lindsay Davis. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live. Welcome back, everyone. Less than 3 weeks ago, Caitlin Clark, the Iowa Hawkeyes superstar guard, became the NCAA's top female scorer of all time. Then on Sunday, Clark became the top all-time scorer, male or female.
This for college basketball history. She does it with a foul shot.
Caitlin Clark's achievements in tonight's By the Numbers. With that free throw, Caitlin Clark passed Pete Maravich's previous record of 3,667 points. That record had stood for an astounding 54 years. Pistol Pete set it back in 1970 when there was no three-point line and freshmen weren't eligible to play. Meanwhile, Clark's laundry list of records just keeps on growing. It's been 25 years since any player, male or female, has had more 30-point games than she has. And she's the first D1 female player to have both 3,000 points and 1,000 assists. And Clark's 162 three-pointers this season is already a record for women. One more, and she breaks the NCAA record held by Darius McGee and, oh yeah, that other guy by the name of Steph Curry. Clark said last week she'll enter the WNBA draft, or she'll most certainly be the #1 pick. She was eligible to play college ball for one more year. Clark has said her college career won't be complete if Iowa doesn't win the national championship. Her team lost the title game last year to LSU. And we saw much more ahead here on Prime tonight. Our conversation with John Bradley to discuss his sci-fi Netflix series, 3 Body Problem. And Chris Connolly sits down with Bradley Cooper and Carey Mulligan to discuss their road to the Oscars. Whenever, wherever news breaks, it's so important to always remember that lives are changed. Here in London, in Buffalo, Uvalde, Texas, Edinburgh, Scotland, from Poland once again tonight. Thank you so much for streaming with us. Ukrainian refugees here in Warsaw. Do you think you'll ever be able to go back home? We're heading to a small community outside of Mexico City. Splintered houses and splintered lives. The magnitude of the devastation. You're streaming ABC News Live. Reporting from Rolling Fork, Mississippi, Santa Fe, New Mexico, Raleigh, North Carolina, the U.S. Capitol, Mayfield, Kentucky, Minneapolis, Mexico, Tongass National Forest, Alaska. Getting you behind the stories as they happen, giving you a front row seat to our world as it plays out in real time, live. ABC News Live Prime. We'll take you there.
Stream ABC News Live weeknights, America's most honored streaming news program, only on ABC News Live. Streaming free right now wherever you stream your news.
First thing in the morning.
There's a lot going on.
Yet another avalanche warning that's up.
To catch you up with what happened overnight. A dangerous ice storm is impacting the morning commute.
What's happening today? Escalating tensions in the Middle East.
What people are talking about. The migrant crisis.
Fast, straightforward.
With some fun in between.
How does billionaire sound?
Sounds good to me. The moose started chasing a dog.
First thing in the morning.
America This Morning.
America's #1 early morning news.
On ABC News Live. This is ABC News Live.
The crush of families here in Poland.
At refugee centers
in Putin's Russia.
On the ground in Ukraine.
Close to the front line.
From the capital, destructive Cat 4 storm.
You're along I-5.
Boston is in the bullseye.
Let's go.
ABC News Live, America's #1 streaming news. Anytime, anywhere. Streaming 24/7, straight to you for free.
Thank you for making ABC News Live America's #1 streaming news. Whenever, wherever news breaks, it's so important to always remember that lives are changed. Here in London, in Buffalo, Uvalde, Texas, Edinburgh, Scotland. Reporting from Rolling Fork, Mississippi, Ukrainian refugees here in Warsaw. We're heading to a small community outside of Mexico City. Getting you behind the stories as they happen. ABC News Live Prime. We'll take you there.
Stream ABC News Live weeknights wherever you stream your news. Only on ABC News Live.
Get ready, America, every Friday.
The hottest trends, styles, and must-have. What's the right stuff to buy right now? I really love that. It's time to buy the right stuff.
Yes!
And save big time, too.
The right stuff.
Fridays on GMA. You're going to love it.
Why do so many people start their day here?
From ABC News, this is Start Here.
To be in the know and get a different take on the day's top stories. Start here.
Now, that's a part of the story I bet you didn't see coming.
Make it your daily first listen wherever you get your podcasts.
We are here in Israel, a nation at war.
We've seen tank after tank pouring into this area.
This is where it all began.
Bullet holes all up the wall.
Within minutes, the air raid sirens going off.
You can hear the sound of an explosion.
We are pinned down here.
Tonight, Israel waging a fierce bombardment of Gaza.
The Israel-Hamas war. For non-stop live coverage, stream ABC News Live.
Reporting from southern Israel.
From the front lines
In downtown Ramallah.
in Beirut.
Wherever the story is, we'll take you there.
ABC News Live.
Welcome back, everyone. Our next guest may be best known for his role in the groundbreaking HBO series Game of Thrones as Samwell Tarly. But now John Bradley is leaving the medieval world behind and stepping into the present day in the new Netflix series Three-Body Problem, where the world of groundbreaking innovation and science is at an all-time high. But can this revolutionary technology be what saves humanity or what destroys it? Take a look.
We don't have this technology. Where did this come from?
Whoa.
That thing is hacking into your brain. You don't even want an Alexa in your house, and you're playing with that? Don't put it on.
I'm not going to put it on. Sword Lady will just cut your head off as well. No invitation, no game.
Who invited you?
I don't know.
Sword Lady joining us now is John Bradley. John, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so you got a lot going on in this show. Science is the foundation. You're jumping different continents. What can you tell us without spoiling it all?
It's a very difficult show to try and describe. I mean, we launched our first trailer for the show back in June, and my friends all said the same thing. They said, I've never known a trailer where I know less about the show having watched it than I did before. It's one of the most ambitious scripts I've ever read, especially for TV. We've got 8 episodes to adapt a very, very dense and very complex book. The Three-Body Problem is a trilogy of Chinese sci-fi novels, and yeah, it's following on from Game of Thrones and the way that the guys broke all the rules of TV and kind of re-established what TV can be. They've not taken it easy on themselves with this. It's in some ways even more ambitious and got even more scope to it than Game of Thrones. Part of the show takes place in China in the 1960s. Part of the show takes place in the present day, and part of the show takes place in a virtual reality video game where, you know, there's such a handy device because you can plan your characters in any point in history or the future and any place in the world. So, yeah, visually, there's a lot going on.
I'm curious because you are working with some of the same show creators from Game of Thrones here, and both were based on books, but one a sci-fi, one fantasy. Is one more difficult to adapt, do you think, to the big screen?
Well, the thing about Game of Thrones, even though it was, you know, lots of different locations and lots of different characters, it was all set in the same time and kind of in the same logic. But the thing about Three-Body Problem is that the doors have been kind of kicked open when it comes to establishing like a visual motif for the show, for example, because, you know, our characters literally, you will find them in medieval England, you will find them in ancient Mongolia, you will find them in China in the city, you know, these same characters are in so many different landscapes and so many different kind of points in history that it's hard to kind of get a grasp on it. I mean, look at that.
We're seeing you there, right, in that no man's land. And you talked about the intrigue that the group has with this virtual reality game. Are you seeing some parallels kind of in real life, in real time, with our own concerns about VR and artificial intelligence, for example?
A little bit, yeah, because the, you know, up until very recently, we had a very clear idea of what was real and what was not real. there's always been sort of escapism in real life, but we were very firmly rooted and grounded in what we believe to be real when we looked out the window. But now with AI and virtual reality and getting so sophisticated, you're not quite sure what's real and what isn't, and it's so easy to be duped by all that stuff. And the show really sort of plays into that, blurring the lines between what's concrete and what's tangible and what's real and what very much isn't.
Well, I know a lot of people are looking forward to watching this. John, thank you so much for talking with us. Want to let our viewers know that John's show 3 Body Problem is available to stream on Netflix Thursday, March 21st. Her story took the internet by storm with one single question: who TF did I marry? The woman behind the incredibly viral TikTok video series sat down with our Robin Roberts to take us on a deep dive into her shocking story.
With just one question, she had the internet hooked.
Who did I marry?
In her 50-part TikTok series, Teresa Johnson, now widely known on social media as Risa Tisa, details her whirlwind pandemic romance that she says was filled with love, heartbreak, and alleged deception.
I'm going to tell the story of how I met, dated, married, and divorced a real pathological liar.
The viral saga has garnered more than 400 million views and counting. Were you nervous at all about sharing?
Yes, I was nervous, but ultimately I decided if you're going to tell this story, tell the whole story. I also really, truly believe the story will help somebody. It costs you nothing to verify, but it very well may cost you everything to not verify.
The narrative spread out over an 8-hour-long TikTok playlist. Part 1, how'd y'all meet?
So we actually met on Facebook dating.
And we also matched on Hinge. I did not realize that he was on both under 2 different names.
There are a lot of things in this story that were red flags. This was probably one of them, but we thought it was hilarious that we matched on 2 different sites. This was a guy who I really, after having multiple conversations with, felt like, wow, you know, where have you been?
Within 2 weeks, she says the couple decided to quarantine together in her Atlanta home.
It was more of a very temporary, he's coming to stay for the lockdown. The lockdown just never ended.
Teresa says Legion told her he had substantial savings from his time playing arena football and quickly took over paying her household bills. Part of the reason that you stayed, was there anything to do with the fact that he said he had money, or you thought that he had money?
I definitely was not with him for the money, but I will admit that there came a point he was paying all the bills and he was being, as he called, a provider. And I had never in my life experienced that before. I really felt like, oh, thank you, Jesus. Like I can just exhale. Yes, that felt good.
Teresa also says he made promises to buy her things, including a luxury car, a house, and a trip to London. What were you thinking when he was making all of these promises and when they weren't happening?
We're touring houses. I physically saw him put an offer in on a house. It is unfathomable to see someone put an offer in and they have no money. So my mind was kind of saying, okay, something isn't right, but you know what you saw. The trip to London, he never actually booked it. Anyone that knows me will tell you that she's wanted to go to London since she was a little kid.
Oh.
So that was difficult because you're playing with me.
In the series, Teresa explains why she continuously chose to overlook what she calls the United Nations of red flags. There's something that you said I really want to get it here. A quote here. Number 1, I don't want to be alone. Number 2,
I didn't want to look stupid by having the relationship end so quickly for everyone to be like, we told you something was up. And number 3, I was ready to get married.
I felt like time was running out. I ignored things because I really wanted it to be my turn.
You get pregnant and unfortunately you lose the baby.
That is where I say the relationship should have ended. Instead, the miscarriage almost pushed me to hold on to him even more.
Teresa claims after they got married, she started uncovering an elaborate web of lies.
I got married January 5th. by January 31st, I knew I was in trouble.
The question isn't what all did he lie about. The question definitely became, okay, what is actually true? What can you prove? Every I love you was a lie. Every I got you was a lie. That does something to you mentally.
What was the most painful part?
The part that still makes me, that I struggle with, is you pretended to be your own executive assistant when I was texting you to say I'm in pre-op. So there was never an executive assistant. You were never in a meeting. You just simply did not take me to the hospital when I lost our child.
Teresa says she discovered he had a criminal record. Documents revealing Legion pled guilty to charges of impersonating a police officer in 2017 and even had an open warrant for violating probation. After just 6 months of marriage, Teresa and Legion divorced.
It was as if a year worth of weight came off of me. I broke down, and I mean, I wailed.
I heard you say that you're not who you were before all this happened. Do you miss her?
I do. I do. She got excited. I don't really get excited anymore. I am terrified to get excited because I went through a whole year and some change of getting excited only for it to be stripped away. I do still believe in love. I do still believe in marriage. I do still want that. Being single is not always the great thing, but being married to the wrong person is a completely different type of hell.
Why do you think your story, has resonated with so many people?
I do think being accountable, people appreciate that. I have nothing wrong with asking for grace if I'm going to be honest and say, this is where I messed up. I know I messed up. I'm gonna be honest, I really had to kind of repent. Like, I had to really ask God to forgive me because I believe that God did everything to stop me. And my hard-headed self was still like, that's not a red flag, that's more pink. That was more pink, you know.
Teresa says even though recording the series was cathartic, therapy has been key.
It is still very much a journey of healing, self-reflection, and simply loving myself way more than to put myself through that or anything even like that ever again.
Our thanks to Robin and Teresa for that conversation. He was one of the most revered figures in music, Leonard Bernstein. Actor and director Bradley Cooper brought his story to the big screen, portraying the conductor and composer in the biographical film Maestro, which is now nominated for 7 Academy Awards. Our Chris Connolly sat down with Cooper and co-star Carey Mulligan to discuss their road to the Oscars.
I'm thinking of a number.
Oh, I don't know. 9.
No.
5.
No, you have to think.
I'm trying to.
It's 2, darling.
2.
It's 2. Like us. Like us, a pair. 2 little ducks in a pond.
I almost don't know where to start with you on this, Bradley, except that I noticed one of the Bernstein children said there was so much that they discovered that you and Lenny had in common. Intensity, artistic dedication, and hugs. You've heard a lot of wonderful things about your movie. What is it like to hear from the Bernstein children that you mattered that much?
It meant everything to us. They're the toughest critics. We knew that going in. And so when they connected with the movie, it was a special thing that I'll never forget. Because they also, they're straight shooters. They tell like it is. They don't soften anything. They are the children of their parents. And so that was probably the biggest gift we had, the 3 of them, for this film. We had so much access to truth of the reality of the situation, of what it was like, and they just emit their parents, even in the way they interact, the way they speak, everything. So it was invaluable. So the fact that they loved it meant everything.
How would you describe the journey you've taken as an actor to being in this project? You say that this project was something different for you as a performer.
It was, yeah. I mean, I think I always felt like lots of jobs were kind of a fluke, that I'd be like, oh, now I'm in this thing. And, and I didn't, just sort of trying to figure things out as I went along and not really feeling like I could, commit properly to things sometimes because I felt just a lot of fear around, particularly work on camera. Just found it nerve-wracking. And I think this was just the first time working with an actor that I trust implicitly, but also a director that I trust implicitly, that I was able to just sort of, let go and have fun.
Wow.
Really sink in.
I suppose it's a difference. It's a personality difference which occurs between any composer versus any creator versus any performer.
How did you manage both of these, all three of these jobs to make it work for you?
I don't really see them as three separate jobs at all. I think maybe that's the way. They all feel like one thing, and hopefully that then it's just creating a world, creating the structure to invite incredible artists to come in and explore. And when I was watching Carey, I was just thinking about, as you were talking, the great movies. You tell me that there was a cast and a crew and there were cameras rolling. I just feel like it was real. I actually felt that when I was acting with her, I forgot. I mean, she made me believe I was Lenny, just by what she was doing. I've never really experienced it to that degree before.
How did you find who Felicia was so that you could be that?
I think what working with Bradley really did was that he took away the fear around things. It just wasn't about being afraid of stuff.
And you're the understudy.
Yeah.
No, I think you should be Margaret. I think you should be Margaret 8 shows a week. That's what I think, front and center. And if it's fear that's stopping you, Felicia...
There are many things stopping me, Lenny, but fear isn't one of them. I wouldn't be standing here in front of you. Heavens, I wouldn't even be in New York City if fear got the better of me. It's just not that easy.
There was no part of this that was an easy go for anyone, most particularly for him, but it was just the most enormous swing. And when you see someone doing it like that with zero fear, it just changes your perspective on things. And I just saw him, writing this and directing this and acting in this with just absolutely no fear. And then I genuinely think everyone around him just went, oh, okay, we're safe. We can just follow the lead here.
I hear what Carey is saying, but you did have some fear, didn't you? There were moments when you were genuinely fearful.
The first day of shooting, I was terrified because I wasn't sure if Lenny was going to be there, and it was the scene where he's teaching young William. At the end of the movie was our first day of shooting. I was terrified at that, but I was smart enough to ask one of my best friends since grad school to play Lenny's assistant, and he was there in that Jaguar with me, and just having Gabe there, who I'd done Place Beyond the Pines with and A Star Is Born also. That was really comforting.
What are you proudest of from what you did?
My friendships on the film, for sure. Friendships with her, one of them being right here.
God bless you both.
All right, thanks to them for the conversation. Be sure to catch our brand new special Road to the Oscars featuring all of our conversations with the 2024 Oscar nominees Friday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern right here on ABC News Live, also streaming on Hulu. And be sure to tune in to Countdown to the Oscars on the Red Carpet Live, which Johnson and I will be hosting, featuring the biggest stars and nominees. That's Sunday, March 10th. Coverage begins at 1 p.m. Eastern right here on ABC News Live. And that is our show for this hour. I'm Lindsay Davis. Be sure to stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. Thanks so much for streaming with us. Coming up in the next hour, the country of Malaysia announces it may reopen the search for MH370, which went missing 10 years ago. We have the details. Parisians gather at the Eiffel Tower to celebrate a historic vote.
Why do so many people start their day here?
From ABC News, this is Start Here.
To be in the know and get a different take on the day's top stories.
A lot of news today, so let's get into it.
Listen now to the Daily News Podcast honored with 4 Edward R. Murrow Awards and see why the New York Times calls it a news podcast worth listening to. Start Here, ABC News. Make it your daily first listen.
Now, that's a part of the story I bet you didn't see coming.
Wherever you get your podcasts, Start Here.
It's lunchtime in America, so what are we serving up?
Well, how about everything you need to know?
You know,
That sounds pretty good.
Give it to me. Your health, your money, breaking news, pop culture, with the biggest stars, music, trends, and of course, good food. GMA 3, what you need to know. A third hour of GMA in the afternoon.
So join us, afternoons.
For everything you need to know.
I love that.
This is ABC News Live.
The crush of families here in Poland.
At refugee centers.
In Putin's Russia.
On the ground in Ukraine.
Close to the front line.
From the capital. Destructive Cat 4 storm.
You're along I-5.
Boston is in the bullseye.
Let's go.
ABC News Live, America's #1 streaming news. Anytime, anywhere. Streaming 24/7, straight to you for free.
Thank you for making ABC News Live America's #1 streaming news.
Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star Erica Jane.
Celebrity attorney Tom Girardi.
This story was a nuclear explosion.
Today, several victims will get a chance to finally meet Erica Girardi.
I'm at sort of a loss for what to say.
Did you see the documentary?
The Housewife and the Hustler? I did.
I wanted Erica to say, I'm sorry, face to face.
Erica, why did it take you so long?
The Housewife and the Hustler 2, only on Hulu.
We are here in Israel, a nation at war.
We've seen tank after tank pouring into this area.
This is where it all began.
Bullet holes all up the wall.
Within minutes, the air raid sirens going off.
You can hear the sound of an explosion. We are pinned down here.
Tonight, Israel waging a fierce bombardment of Gaza.
The Israel-Hamas war. For non-stop live coverage, stream ABC News Live.
Reporting from southern Israel.
From the front lines in downtown Ramallah. In Beirut.
Wherever the story is, we'll take you there.
ABC News Live.
Whenever, wherever news breaks, it's so important to always remember that lives are changed. Here in London, in Buffalo, Uvalde, Texas, Edinburgh, Scotland. Reporting from Rolling Fork, Mississippi. Ukrainian refugees here in Warsaw. We're heading to a small community outside of Mexico City. Getting you behind the stories as they happen. ABC News Live Prime. We'll take you there.
Stream ABC News Live weeknights wherever you stream your news.
California, I'm Robin Roberts. Wherever the story is, we're going to take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Good evening, everyone. This is ABC News Live Prime. I'm Lindsay Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We have a lot of news to get to this evening, including a unanimous 2024 ruling from the Supreme Court. Donald Trump can remain on the ballot in Colorado despite the state's attempt to remove him after a state trial court found he participated in the January 6th insurrection via incitement. What the Supreme Court's ruling today means for the 2024 race and those insurrection charges. Plus, the declared state of emergency in Haiti after a massive prison break in the capital further strains a country already in crisis. And the major law of France just enshrined into law that has its citizens celebrating. But we do begin with that historic ruling by the nation's highest court and the immediate impact it will have on the presidential election. In a unanimous decision, the Supreme Court found individual states cannot invoke the 14th Amendment to keep Donald Trump off the ballot. The ruling has direct implications in 2 Super Tuesday states, Colorado and also Maine. Trump praised the court for working hard and quickly. The justices will now take up the other major case before them, former President Trump's claim of absolute immunity in the federal election interference case. Those arguments will begin next month. In today's ruling, the justices did not weigh in on whether he took part in an insurrection on January 6th. And while today's ruling may have been unanimous, not all the justices agree exactly on how they reached their decision. Terry Moran leads us off tonight from the Supreme Court.
For the Supreme Court, a rare moment of unanimity. All 9 justices, so often divided in major cases, declaring as one that individual states cannot ban Donald Trump from the presidential ballot under the insurrection clause of the Constitution's 14th Amendment. The court did not address the issue of whether Trump actually engaged in insurrection, but declared that the responsibility for enforcing that section of the Constitution rests with Congress and not the states.
They worked long, they worked hard, and frankly, they worked very quickly on something that will be spoken about 100 years from now and 200 years from now. Extremely important.
Courts in 3 states, Colorado, Maine, and Illinois, have ruled that Trump should be banned from the ballot because of his actions on January 6th and in the weeks before, under the 14th Amendment's command that no one who has taken an oath to support the Constitution and then engaged in insurrection can hold public office afterwards. During oral arguments last month, liberals and conservatives on the court voiced sharp skepticism of what Colorado did.
I think that the question that you have to confront is why a single state should decide who gets to be president of the United States.
Today, the justices pointed to the potential disruption that could happen if some states disqualified Trump and some did not, all using different standards and procedures. To disqualify insurrectionist candidates, the court ruled Congress must first pass a law spelling out how. But the court's 3 liberal justices, in a concurring opinion, said that goes too far. By saying only new legislation can address the issue, the conservatives, the liberals wrote, are attempting to shield the court itself and Donald Trump from future controversy. Adding sharply, the majority attempts to insulate all alleged insurrectionists from future challenges to their holding federal office. Justice Amy Coney Barrett also wrote separately, agreeing with the liberals that the majority went too far, but urging her colleagues to turn the national temperature down, not up. Our differences are far less important than our unanimity, Barrett wrote. All 9 justices agree on the outcome of this case. That is the message all Americans should take home.
That unanimous decision, very poignant there. Terry Moran joins us now from the Supreme Court. Terry, this comes as the court prepares to hear another case with potentially huge consequences for the election. What's next for that case?
Yeah, it's the Trump docket, Lindsay, no question about it. And that case, that's the one where Donald Trump has claimed absolute immunity from criminal prosecution for actions he took as president, including the actions on January 6th and the weeks leading up to it. A lower court threw that out, but the Supreme Court wants to hear the full case. They've set argument in that case for the end of April, so expect a decision late May or June. And as all these cases grind on, Super Tuesday is tomorrow. Voters going to the polls in 15 states, and Donald Trump remains on the ballot in every one. Lindsay?
Terry Moran for us. Thanks so much, Terry. Now to the new winter storm taking aim at the West Coast tonight with winter weather alerts in effect from California to Montana. Snow is blocking mountain roads, stranding drivers for hours. Interstate 80 was closed for several days, but finally reopened today. Now heavy snow will sweep across several states through Thursday. ABC's Faith Abube is in California for us.
Tonight, after enduring multiple days of blizzard conditions, communities in the Sierra Nevada mountains now bracing for another winter storm. More than 10 feet of snow in some areas already. One Lake Tahoe ski resort reporting a wind gust of 190 miles per hour during the storm's height. The blizzard shutting down more than 70 miles of Interstate 80 for days. We were with California Highway Patrol Sergeant Eric Strecker this weekend as he checked on stranded drivers.
You want me to give you a little nudge?
Watch as he uses his cruiser to push this car out of that snowbank.
Should be out of there.
In the blinding snow and wind over Donner Summit Friday night, first responders going vehicle to vehicle, rescuing more than 200 drivers, including a mother and her newborn baby.
We ended up getting her car jump-started, but realized she still doesn't have enough fuel. So at that point, we just elected to transport her and the baby off of the mountain down to a warming center.
The crucial interstate finally reopening today.
Our thanks to Faith for that. Major fires, meanwhile, continue burning across the Texas Panhandle. About 500 homes now gone, some families with no place to go. Officials estimate more than 1 million acres have been destroyed. ABC's Maria Villarreal is in Texas for us.
Tonight, a new wildfire triggering the evacuation of another town in the Texas Panhandle as firefighters race to contain the largest fire in state history that has killed 2 people and destroyed hundreds of homes. Officials temporarily evacuating Sanford, Texas Sunday. Crews battling wind-fueled flames from the ground and in the air. 5 wildfires scorching more than 1 million acres, hitting cattle ranchers hard.
So far today,
Shay Mesner owns the Bait Shack in Fritch, Texas, helping coordinate hay donations from around the state. Authorities estimating thousands of cattle have been killed, potentially impacting the nation's beef supply.
And those cows need to eat.
Over 1 million acres is burned. There is no grass on the ground for them to eat. So hay is of dire importance.
If you don't get the hay to the livestock, what happens here?
The meat market dies.
And tonight, word of the first lawsuit, a woman suing power company Excel, saying a wooden pole Excel failed to properly inspect, snapped off at its base, adding powered utility lines hit the ground, igniting a fire. Excel responding to that lawsuit, saying they are working to support the Panhandle, adding there has been no official determination of cause or causes for the fires, and investigations are ongoing. And tonight, back in Fritch, the community rallying to help those struggling.
This is our town. This is where we live. These are the people that we bump shoulders with every day. If we don't stick together as a town, who's going to do it?
So many hoping that some rain is in the forecast soon. Our thanks to Maria. Now we head overseas for the latest on the Israel-Hamas war. The Biden administration is increasing the pressure for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza, with Vice President Harris acknowledging the scale of suffering there. ABC's Tom Sufi Burridge is in Israel.
Tonight, amid growing desperation in Gaza, the U.S. stepping up calls for a ceasefire. Vice President Kamala Harris meeting with a member of Israel's war cabinet with a pointed message. Time is running out to free more hostages. And calling on Hamas to accept the terms of an immediate 6-week ceasefire. The deadline is the end of this week.
We're in a window of time right now where we can actually get a hostage deal done. We all want this conflict to end as soon as possible, and how it does matters.
The push for a deal comes as the UN sets out clear and convincing evidence of sexual violence by Hamas militants during the October 7th attack. In a new report, the UN calling for a full investigation, saying hostages in Gaza were also sexually assaulted. The findings released while the US, Egypt and Qatar tell Israel it must allow more aid into the Strip. The US airdropping 38,000 ready-to-eat meals into Gaza this weekend. But the UN warning 500,000 people are on the brink of famine. One Gaza hospital saying 16 children have now died because of malnutrition, with UNICEF warning that number could quickly spiral.
We are seeing children die because of malnutrition, because of dehydration, and we will see those numbers skyrocket without a ceasefire.
Time certainly of the essence there. Our thanks to Tom. Next tonight, to a mystery going unsolved for a decade. The disappearance of MH370, the flight with 239 people on board, vanished without a trace back in March of 2014. Now an American company based in Texas says it wants to launch a new operation to try to find it. Gio Benitez has more on this latest effort.
Nearly 10 years after Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 mysteriously vanished from radar and plunged into the Indian Ocean, some of the victims' families hope they could finally get answers.
It's what we wanted to hear, and we hoped for that for a very long time.
The Malaysian government says it may relaunch the search for the wreckage after a proposal from the American seabed exploration company Ocean Infinity.
If there are compelling case evidence that need to be reopened, we will certainly be happy to reopen.
MH370 took off from Kuala Lumpur with 239 people on board. But the plane made a U-turn and disappeared. Pieces of wreckage later washed up on Reunion Island and off Tanzania. But despite the biggest search in aviation history, the crash site was never found. Ocean Infinity last searched in 2018.
This private company has information that they think has refined the search area, and they think that it's worth going back out and looking in this new area, which was not explored before. We don't know what that information is. We don't know if it's legitimate information. They will probably only tell the Malaysian government.
So many eager to hear that information. Gio Benitez joins us now. Gio, what's the leading theory about the cause of this mysterious crash?
Well, Lindsay, it's just incredible that 10 years later, we still don't know what caused this crash. But as you said, that leading theory right now is that this was the intentional act of a pilot or someone else on board. For those families, they really want to know that answer, Lindsay.
To understand why. Gio Benitez for us. Our thanks to you. Here in New York today, the former CFO of the Trump Organization pleaded guilty to perjury in the state's civil fraud trial against Donald Trump. Prosecutors say Alan Weisselberg lied under oath while testifying on Trump's behalf. The judge in the case ordered Trump last month to pay more than $450 million for inflating the value of his properties. Here's Aaron Katersky with that report.
For almost 50 years, Alan Weisselberg was a trusted lieutenant of the Trump family. Tonight, for a second time, that loyalty is sending him to jail. Weisselberg pleaded guilty to perjury, admitting he lied during the New York Attorney General's investigation and trial of his former boss. The 76-year-old Weisselberg came to court today in handcuffs. He was released until April 10th, when he'll be sentenced to 5 months in jail.
How do you feel?
Weisselberg has already served time for evading taxes on benefits he received as chief financial officer of the Trump Organization. This time, he lied about his role in affirming the size of Trump's Fifth Avenue penthouse. Trump's financial statement said it's 30,000 square feet, but the Attorney General showed Trump's signature on a document certifying it's a third that size, 11,000 square feet. That false valuation is part of the reason Trump was held liable for fraud and ordered to pay a nearly $500 million civil penalty. Weisselberg did not implicate Trump. He left the Trump Organization last year with a $2 million severance.
Our thanks to Aaron. So much more to get to tonight. Coming up, concern about the state of democracy. We chat with someone who offers solutions that may perhaps calm your qualms. The next, chaos and a state of emergency declared in this Caribbean nation.
Whenever news breaks,
we are here in Israel, a nation at war after that brutal surprise attack by Hamas.
On the ground in Ukraine, reporting from Lewiston, Maine.
The scene of a horrific mass shooting.
ABC News Live is right there everywhere.
From the scene of that deadly missile strike in Dnipro, Ukraine.
Reporting from the earthquake in Turkey.
In Rolling Fork, this tornado tore through this little town.
From the most devastating disaster in Hawaii.
From Charleston, South Carolina, on the 2024 campaign trail.
In Iceland, let's go.
Traveling with the president in Mexico City.
Wherever the story.
From the front lines from southern Israel.
Outside the Gaza Strip.
In Beirut.
From the FBI.
Reporting from the nurses on the picket line.
Here at 10 Downing Street in London.
Streaming live to you.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is, we're going to take you there.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live, streaming free everywhere. America's #1 streaming news.
Everything is so fine, little bit of sunshine. Some more, just a little bit. Breathe more, just a little bit. Smile a little more in a minute. I've been running through the strange life. Pictures on my phone life. Everything is so fine, little bit of sunshine.
Good morning, America.
We are here in Israel, a nation at war.
We've seen tank after tank pouring into this area.
This is where it all began.
Bullet holes all up the wall.
Within minutes, the air raid sirens going off.
You can hear the sound of an explosion.
We are pinned down here.
Tonight, Israel waging a fierce bombardment of Gaza.
The Israel-Hamas war. For non-stop live coverage, stream ABC News Live.
Reporting from southern Israel.
From the front lines.
In downtown Ramallah.
In Beirut.
Wherever the story is, we'll take you there.
Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back. We're tracking several headlines around the world. The U.S. Embassy in Haiti is telling U.S. citizens to leave the country now after hundreds, if not thousands, of inmates broke out of the country's largest prison. That's according to 2 senior Haitian government officials. Gangs on Saturday launched a massive coordinated assault on the facility and have been attacking government facilities for the past week in an attempt to immobilize the national police and throw out the acting prime minister. And take a look at this. Massive boulders in Peru came crashing down on vehicles, crushing cargo, drivers fleeing for their lives. Officials are using these videos as part of their investigation and blaming heavy rain for loosening the boulders. Amazingly, no one was killed. The Eiffel Tower sparkled today as thousands of abortion rights activists celebrated the French Parliament's vote to enshrine the right to an abortion in the country's constitution. The words "My body, my choice" were projected onto the Eiffel Tower. The vote in Parliament was not close, with more than 90% of the lawmakers present voting to approve. With Super Tuesday just hours away, many believe that the biggest issue in our current political atmosphere is partisan polarization and the fact that disillusioned voters may simply not vote at all. Executive Director of Unite America, Nick Troiano, is here now to discuss Super Tuesday, the current political landscape, and his book, The Primary Solution, Rescuing Our Democracy from the Fringes. Nick, welcome to the show. In your book, you say one of the biggest solvable problems fueling political extremism and dysfunction is partisan primaries. But it's a system, of course, we've relied on for more than a century now. What do you propose as a solution?
Well, I call partisan primaries the biggest solvable problem in our politics today because it is disenfranchising millions of voters, particularly independents, who are prohibited from voting in party primaries in close to 24 states this year. But it's also a solvable problem because at the state level, we can fix it. We can open primaries so that every voter can vote for any candidate they want in every election. And we're already seeing some states move in this direction, whether it's Maine, that for the first time this year, independent voters will be able to participate, or states like Alaska, which has actually replaced its party primaries with a single nonpartisan primary with an all-candidate ballot. These are reforms that are taking root all across the country, and I think is a pragmatic solution to the polarization that we see today.
And so you just mentioned Alaska as an example, a model of how some states have drastically changed their primary process. What do you think has worked for them, and do you think it's a model that other states could easily follow?
Well, what's worked is that in the past, like most states and most congressional elections, the elections that mattered were typically only the primary in which the parties would choose which candidate it would nominate. And that's because most of our elections are so lopsided for one party or the other. And when these primary reforms are enacted, what it does is give all voters the chance to be able to vote on who represents them. And moreover, it gives those candidates and elected officials an incentive to campaign and to represent a majority of the electorate, not just the base of their party. And if we want to make progress on the big challenges facing the country, we need these reforms because right now Congress is not representing us. We're not seeing action on issues even where a majority of Americans agree.
You write how often the primary election can decide the general election, and Unite America estimates up to 25% of House seats will effectively be decided by tomorrow. Is that a problem in your view?
Very much so, in part because on Super Tuesday, as you mentioned, close to a quarter of the U.S. Congress will effectively be elected in these safe districts, and it will exclude millions of voters who aren't able even to participate in those party primaries. You know, a majority of veterans, for example, identify as independent. A majority of young people do. So our current system is telling the future of our country, those who fought for our country, that they don't have a voice. You know, that's not just wrong, it's un-American, and this is why it's so important we change it.
Quite a lot of voters have expressed discontent with both President Biden and former President Trump. What would you say to a voter who's just given up hope and is planning to sit out the election altogether?
Well, listen, I think that there are still multiple candidates competing even at the presidential level, and there are important races down ballot. So if you're able to vote in the primaries, I suggest you do so, but then get involved in this election reform movement. Look at organizations like Represent Us and Open Primaries where you can be part of the solution at the state level. I think that's one of the reasons why I remain so optimistic, is because improving our election system is a proud tradition in our country. As you mentioned, we didn't have primaries 100 years ago until we invented them. It was an improvement at the time, and today demands the same, that we update our election system for our own times to make progress for our democracy and the issues that we care about.
Nick, we thank you so much for joining us. His book, The Primary Solution, Rescuing Our Democracy from the Fringes, is now available wherever books are sold. And still to come, we sit down with Nisha Pahuja to discuss her film, To Kill a Tiger.
Why do so many people start their day here?
From ABC News, this is Start Here.
To be in the know and get a different take on the day's top stories.
A lot of news today, so let's get into it.
Listen now to the Daily News Podcast honored with 4 Edward R. Murrow Awards and see why the New York Times calls it a news podcast worth listening to. Start Here, ABC News. Make it your daily first listen.
Now, that's a part of the story I bet you didn't see coming.
Wherever you get your podcasts, Start Here. What does it take to be the most watched newscast in America?
We are part of an operation.
Is this our Combat Operations Center?
We're approaching the gate. Militants came in from different directions.
Nuclear reactor.
So you have a couple loaded and ready to go.
The house is destroyed, but the flag.
How important is Made in the USA?
Great work.
Hi. Appreciate you. Thank you. Ismail? David. I'm David Muir. I know you are. You watch you every night.
ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir is America's most watched newscast.
We are here in Israel, a nation at war.
We've seen tank after tank pouring into this area.
This is where it all began.
Bullet holes all up the wall.
Within minutes, the air raid sirens going off.
You can hear the sound of an explosion. We are pinned down here.
Tonight, Israel waging a fierce bombardment of Gaza.
The Israel-Hamas war. For non-stop live coverage, stream ABC News Live.
Reporting from southern Israel.
From the front lines.
In downtown Ramallah.
In Beirut.
Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. ABC News Live.
Welcome back. A family's life is upended in India when their 13-year-old daughter is the victim of a brutal gang rape. Her father's decision to support her is relentless and a rare occurrence within their culture. His fight for justice and the family's path toward healing is the subject of an Academy Award-nominated documentary, To Kill a Tiger. I got a chance to talk with the director, Nisha Pahuja, to talk about the serious issues spotlighted in this film, which she hopes will prompt real change. Now, you originally set out to create a different movie about masculinity.
Yeah.
So how did this actual movie that you ultimately captured come into fruition?
Yeah. So I was following the work. There's an NGO that's in this film, in To Kill a Tiger. In that NGO, I was following the work of the NGO, and they were running a gender sensitization program across the state of Jharkhand, and one of the men who was enrolled in this gender sensitization program was Ranjit, who's the father of the film, and that's how I met him.
पिता अपनी बेटी का सामूहिक बलात्कार के केस को लेकर उठा है, ये अपने आप में छोटी घटना नहीं है.
It's been reported widely that there's a rape every 20 minutes in India. Less than 30% are actually prosecuted. Do you feel that this film might have the impact to change that?
Oh yeah, yeah, without a doubt. The issue of sexual violence and the issue of rape, it isn't exclusive to India. You know, it's actually a global and it's a universal problem. So for me, the importance of the film and the impact that I think this film can have is actually globally.
जानते हैं ना, आपके गांव में एक घटना घटा है जिसमें एक 13 साल की बच्ची के साथ बलात्कार हुआ है.
तो लड़का या लड़की की कोई तो दूर करना नहीं रहे.
You know, the Toronto Film Festival, the jury statement was really impactful in that it talked about how it's not easy to film love. And in some ways, this really is a love story from a father to his daughter. How were you able to capture that so eloquently?
Yeah, that's so beautiful. I mean, there was no effort on my part. It just was the truth, you know? It just is something that exists between them, this really, really special bond. The first time we interviewed him, when he tells that story about how when his wife was pregnant, he really wanted it to be a girl. And that is so rare for India, you know? I mean, nobody wants a daughter, right? You always want your firstborn to be a son. And so the fact that he wanted a girl, I knew then that this was an unusual and a really special human being.
बोल रहा था कि अगर किसी को बताएगी तो मार देंगे उसको बोला.
How did you end up incorporating Kieran into this? Because initially you were just going to do the whole story without her.
Well, initially she was going to be a much smaller part of the film, and we were going to obscure her identity. And, you know, in some way, the fact that the film took 8 years to make was almost like it was meant to happen that way, because by the time we were finished, she'd become an adult and she could actually decide whether she wanted to be seen or not, and she chose to be seen.
So many of the people here, and not to take anything away, but what they are creating is strictly for entertainment purposes. How does it make you feel to create something that really can change the world for the better?
Oh, thank you for saying that. Yeah, I think, you know, for me, it is without a doubt the reason I became a documentary filmmaker. It was really clear for me, especially as we were editing, that this particular film just had the power to galvanize, you know, and it would encourage other survivors to come forward to seek justice. And it would, I think, encourage men to understand that women's rights are really human rights, and it's important for them to fight alongside with us.
Our thanks to Nisha for that conversation. Be sure to catch our brand new special, Road to the Oscars, featuring all of our conversations with the 2024 Oscar nominees, Friday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on ABC News Live and streaming on Hulu. Also, be sure to tune in to Countdown to the Oscars on the Red Carpet Live. Whit Johnson and I will be hosting, featuring the biggest stars and nominees. That is Sunday, March 10th. Coverage begins at 1 p.m. Eastern, right here on ABC News Live. And that is our show for tonight. I'm Lindsay Davis. ABC News Live is here for you all night with the latest news, context, and analysis. You can always find us on Hulu, Roku, Pluto TV, the ABC News app, and, of course, on abcnews.com. The news never stops. Thanks so much for streaming with us. Have a great night. This is ABC News Live.
To crush a family.